Okay, so you're a real estate wholesaler and you're trying to find motivated sellers. Where are they and how do you get a hold of them? How do you actually sign contracts and wholesale or buy these folks' properties? I want to do a quick breakdown on what a motivated seller is and what a motivated seller is not. Motivated sellers are the lifeblood of wholesaling and off-market real estate, guys. Without them, the business honestly probably wouldn't exist. And they're always going to be there because there's always going to be problems that people need creative solutions for. First and foremost, guys, if you're watching this video, you're probably a newer wholesaler, and your job as a wholesaler is not to manufacture motivation, guys. That's the biggest thing that I see, especially people calling unmotivated lists or lists that might have, questionable motivation, is that they talk to sellers that are willing to sell their property and they give you a price that's just too high, or maybe it's already at ARV or Zillow price or whatever. More than likely, that person is simply not motivated. They're not going to be a good lead for you to pursue because they want a retail price. They're not the people we want to talk to, guys. Motivated sellers are people that want to sell their property relatively quickly, generally in 30 days or less, and they're willing to take a price reduction because they have other circumstances that are generally outside the property, like money problems. They need to move for a job, something like that, where it's really impossible for them to go and do anything but sell quickly to a cash buyer. So guys, your job is not to manufacture motivation, but to take motivation that's already there and agree on a price and a solution for that buyer, so that way you can solve their problem and buy the property. So how do you find these motivated sellers? Some of the best ways that I have found is by really identifying the motivated list and lead sources that there are. So let's start with things that are really generally unmotivated leads. So unmotivated leads are typically outbound leads from certain lists. So for example, a high equity list of just homes in your city that have high equity is generally not a motivated list because you're simply targeting people that have a prerequisite of having equity in their house. Just having equity doesn't mean that they're motivated to sell. Now, some people in that list may be motivated, but the vast majority will not be motivated. Same thing with landlord list, right? Like a tired landlord. Again, if somebody's owned property for a while and they're older, they have equity, yes, they may be motivated, but most of those people will not be motivated. Now, we still market to those folks, especially folks that have rundown properties. So guys, the quickest way is to find highly motivated leads, and typically motivation comes as a source of pain. It really boils down to kind of the top 3 reasons why people do anything, and that's death and divorce. In my business, we are primarily targeting those leads, and that is in the form of pre-foreclosures, foreclosures, and probate leads. So what that means, a pre-foreclosure and foreclosure, is that they are having money problems, and those money problems can stem from, a variety of sources. Maybe somebody passed away, job loss, financial irresponsibility, and multitude of reasons can cause someone to basically get behind on their mortgage payments. Generally, they've already fallen so far behind that it's going to be very hard for them to catch it up. And those are mainly the leads that I target personally, is those pre-foreclosures, because they have to do something, guys. If they're going to do something, and that may not be selling, but they're going to either get a loan modification or sell the property, generally most likely, or it's going to get auctioned off at the foreclosure, at which point you could still potentially buy it. So those leads are very timely. They have to take action in a certain period of time, or it is literally they're going to lose their house. And so those are some of the leads. That is an example of one of the highest motivated leads in the whole world, is somebody in that situation. Same with probate leads. Probate leads, generally it's not the actual person that owns the house, because of course they're probably passed away, but generally the relatives, kids, spouse of that person. They've now just inherited a house that they know nothing about, and a lot of times they want to go ahead and sell that house and liquidate it because they have no emotional nor monetary attachment to the house because it wasn't theirs. They got it for free. They're not in the house business. They don't know much about houses, so they would rather just sell it off and get the cash so that they can do whatever they want with it in their lives. Again, motivated to do that quickly because a lot of these houses have mortgages, they have payments attached to them, and it's going to become cost or liability to the new owners if they don't sell it. Some other lead sources, guys, are code violation lists or water shutoff lists. Code violations are like automatic driving for dollars, really, because it's the city workers and the inspectors that are driving around in their day-to-day, and they're actually marking specific houses that have code violations. And generally, almost all code violations are good violations because it's showing that the owner of that property, the resident of that property, is neglecting the property or neglecting their life in some way. That means that it's a good lead to go after, whether it's calling or mailing or whatever you want to do, because that person's letting their house go. And so they may be motivated to actually sell that property. Some other examples of leads like this are water shutoffs. If water has been shut off at a property for more than, say, a month or two, it's likely that there's nobody living there, or the family living there cannot afford the water bill, and so the water has been shut off. Now that's a good indicator because, again, water is very cheap, generally only costing around $100 a month depending on where you live. And so if somebody is not paying the water, the property is either vacant or the family is in very bad shape because they can't afford that payment. So that is a great lead to target because, again, there's a lot of financial pain there and they may want to sell the property and be done with it. Now, those are a lot of your outbound leads that you have to go and kind of scour and find that information. Those are the leads that I would spend my time on because I know that those people are motivated because of the circumstances that they're in. So the outbound leads that I just described, all that information can be found for relatively free, very cheap. It's also very affordable to contact those people because you can call, you can text, you can door knock them, you can even send them mailers. Now, on the other side of that is the inbound leads. So almost all inbound leads are going to be exponentially more motivated than outbound lead. And generally that's because they're responding to an ad that you've put out there that says, hey, are you interested in buying their house? They're already very motivated and they're actually taking time and effort out of their day to fill out a form to actually get you to call them because they want to sell their house now. If you have the money, I would definitely invest in marketing, whether that's mailers. Mailers are basically a hybrid of outbound and inbound because you're actually sending them mail, which is an outbound form of marketing, but they are actually getting the mail, calling back in, which is an inbound action on their part. Same with TV or Facebook or YouTube ads or pay-per-click or pay-per-lead or all these other models, guys. Those are inbound leads. Those are going to be a lot more motivated and take a lot less of your time and a lot less leads to get a deal. The downside is that they're going to be very expensive. Depending on your marketing channel, you're probably going to be paying as little as $50 to hundreds of dollars on average per lead. So if you have the money, I would definitely start investing in marketing to get those inbound leads. When it comes to actually contacting those people, it's really not complicated, guys. It's actually gotten simpler because of regulation. You know, really the most reliable ways to get a hold of leads is going to be the phone. The regulatory agencies have recently cracked down on texting. There's some unorthodox ways you can email people. It's a great way to get a hold of people. There's also things like Facebook Messenger. Almost everybody has a Facebook account, so you can actually reach out on Facebook Messenger and contact these folks. I would pick one or two, really go deep on those until you get very good at contacting them with them and use them together. And again, guys, thing is, when you know a lead's motivated, you can actually do a lot more work and try a lot harder to get a hold of them because you know that this person has to do something. They are highly motivated. They're in a selling mindset or they're going to be very close. So it's worth it to put a lot of extra effort to try to get a hold of that lead, get a meeting and try to find a solution. Hopefully that is going to be buying their house. So guys, I hope you like that. That is finding and getting in contact with motivated sellers. If you want more videos like how to talk to motivated sellers, how to negotiate with motivated sellers, go ahead and hit the subscribe and the like button down below. And with that, guys, I'm Dan Kohan, and we'll see you in the next video.